Hey there, my name's Danny Leibrandt, and welcome back to Local Marketing Secrets. Today I'm with Chris Dreyer, who is the founder and CEO of Rankings.io, one of the top SEO agencies in the country, specializing exclusively in personal injury law firms. Chris took a $15,000 loan and turned it into an 8-year consecutive Inc. 5000 company. I thought it was multi-year, maybe a few years here or there. 8 years, Chris just corrected me, helping some of the biggest law firms in the US dominate Google search. He's also the host of the Personal Injury Mastermind podcast and the author of Niching Up and Personal Injury Lawyer Marketing. Chris has an incredible story from teaching and playing online poker to running over 100 affiliate sites to building a powerhouse agency by going all in on one niche. If you're interested in what it takes to scale an agency, win in one of the most competitive markets in SEO, and stay ahead of industry changes, this episode is one you won't want to miss. Now, without further ado, Chris, welcome to the show.
Danny, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, like I told you, I want to jump a little bit more into your background. You have a really fascinating one. I think probably the most interesting part that I want to dive into is the poker aspect. So you're telling me that like a lot of your friends that you used to play with have like gone pro and you were very serious into it. Just talk to me a little bit like about the early days, that background regarding poker.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. So first of all, my family plays a lot of cards. So pitch and rummy, and so it's like kind of the thing that we would do at family reunions. And my dad is a math genius. I don't use that term lightly. Like when we played games, even say Yahtzee, right? He would get on to us as kids if we kept the wrong dice or rolled the wrong dice from a probability perspective. So it was kind of a weird, regular conversation about statistics and probability. I wouldn't say that I would say I'm pretty higher end on the math stuff because of my growing up. But just like anyone, when it hit the TV, World Series of Poker, Chris Moneymaker, Phil Hellmuth, Daniel Negreanu,
Mm-hmm.
all these stars, we got hooked. And in college, a bunch of my buddies, we played all the time. I mean, it felt like every day.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to beat everybody. So what do? You obsess. So I read all the books, Skalansky, Brunson, all of them. Phil Hellmuth's like his TV, like VHS, old school. That makes me sound super old. Watching him and like obsessed, right? And we did that for years. When I started doing affiliate marketing later on down the road, the guy that I lived with kind of went a different direction. He went the poker direction, even though he was doing digital marketing, and I stayed with digital marketing. Now, some people are like, oh, he just played. Like, no, he had a mindset coach. He had a tactical hand coach. And it was a real job. Like, he treated it as a job. Clocked in, hand history. Where there was 1 month where we reviewed, I think, 30 or 40,000 hands that I played. So all of my losing sessions, we reviewed like what I could have done, my bet sizing, all the different things, right? And I equate that to a lifetime of education, because if you play live table games at a casino, you might get 40 to 60 hands an hour, right? And I was getting 8 to 10 minimum of that per hour. Actually probably closer to 20x because I was doing multi-table. And
Wow.
so I got like a lifetime of education versus the real players. And so I played a bunch of tournaments, and one of them, just to kind of go into the story, because I think probably saw the history is,
Mm-hmm.
look, I was hungover after his birthday, and we were sitting around at a coffee house, and I was like, I'd really like to play this Sunday Millionaire tournament. And it was like a couple $100, but I was broke, and he's like, well, I'll stake you, give me 50% of the winnings. And there's 14,000 players, and I ended up getting fourth for $224,000.
Wow.
The crazy thing about this was around Black Friday for poker. Anyone that's a poker player has heard of this. It was when the federal government seized the money from Full Tilt, Party Poker. So that money I didn't get. So it was locked up and frozen for like 3 years. Now, thankfully,
What?
it was frozen. That was a good thing for me because
Yeah.
I was spending money recklessly, and I actually got to use it from a more beneficial standpoint. I paid off my school loans, gave my parents some money, but yeah, that was kind of, there's a lot of good juicy poker stories. But yeah, that's a couple that stand out.
Interesting. So tell me then, with now the context and perspective you have from poker, would you say that you've learned any business lessons, or has anything translated to your life today?
1,000%. I'm not trying to be cliche here, but when I played poker, I played 9 max, no limit. That's it. I didn't play limit. I didn't play stud and all the different variations. I played 9 max, no limit.
For
That's all
people
I
that don't
played.
know, what does that mean? Is that like a risky one, or?
You could do six people at a table. You could do heads up tournaments. You could do pot limit Omaha. It's a different betting structure, different, you got 4 cards instead of 2. I played one version and I knew how to play that version. So those, 30, 40,000 hands I played that for 30, 40,000 hands. Everything I've done, it's part of the niching up, and some of the stories are in the book. But everything that I've done that I've been successful at has been with focus, at deep focus. So a lot of people don't know this, but I played a collectible card game, right? You've heard of Pokemon, but I played Magic the Gathering in a game called Legends of Five Rings. Legends of Five Rings was very popular when I was in high school and first couple of years of college. Well, I was a world-ranked collectible card game player in that. At one point, I had won 4 state championships in a 2-year period, and no one had done that at the time.
What?
And kind of where I'm going with the focus is there were, I believe, 12 clans that you could play, but I played one. I learned how to play it very effectively. In sports in high school, even going back further, I was very good at sports, baseball, all of them, but I was better at basketball. Well, I quit all the other sports and I focused on basketball, and was held our records at our high school, college recruited. By the way, my school only had 100 people total. My graduating class was 28 people, and we're beating schools much bigger and getting recruited. It's because of my focus on basketball and playing every Saturday and Sunday. And so everything comes to this deep focus. And I think when things get difficult and people don't want to do that extra little thing necessary, so it's very intentional deep work, deep focus. That's where I've kind of benefited. It's not the smartest, not the whatever, but it's just been, I've been so incredibly focused and determined that it's really helped me be successful.
Yeah, no, I'm a total advocate for that as well. I think that's the only way you can truly win things. And it seems like you're a super competitive person, so you're going to do whatever it takes to win. But what it takes is just choosing that one kind of thing, just one of the 12 Pokemon leagues, or just one of the many different ways to play poker. So yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense. And that ties directly into your book, which first off, I'm just kind of curious. Your book is called Niching Up. Why is it not niching down?
Yeah, I think just I'm a half glass full type of person, right? I think when you think of down, you think of constraint and less opportunities. And I think I'm more of an abundance. So up, it's like a lot of times when you when you focus, you're niching up to go upstream in a market, right? So I'll give you, if I was a generalist, it'd be very hard for me to go talk to an Inc. 100 company, or go talk to a Morgan & Morgan, who, Dan Morgan I could text right now, or a Sweet James and Steve Meir, right? I can text these individuals. It's because I focus and I've went up in the ladder of relationships, and my relationship equity and trust is facilitated that. So that's kind of the name. Also got it from Seth Godin. So it's a little ripped off of Seth. One of his little 1,000-word daily blogs talked about niching up, and I kind of ran with that. I really liked it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, and talk to me a little bit more about the importance of niching up or down, however you want to put it. I feel like most people, maybe not most people, but a good amount of people don't understand the power of this. Like I just told you, I spoke in a local SEO group a few days ago, and I briefly mentioned niching down because they really wanted me to talk about podcasting, because I'm pretty strong there, just like how that gets you clients and networking and all of that stuff. But I mentioned niching down, and then they started all asking me questions about niching down. I'm like, you guys don't have a niche agency? Like I feel like that's kind of step one. But talk to me about your experience. Like you talked to me a little bit before the show, niching down versus generalist. You're kind of in between for a little bit.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm going to give you 2 examples for the audience. But did you ever play the Nintendo game Final Fantasy?
I didn't. No.
Number 1? Okay.
No.
Well, I'll explain it for our audience. And the gamers that have played Final Fantasy 1, right? It's the very first like RPG Nintendo game. You get out and you get to pick a character to build your party of 4. And they have a fighter, a thief, a white mage, a black mage, and then they have this red mage. The red mage is the generalist. Can kind of fight, can kind of cast some spells. You don't want to be the fucking red mage, right? You don't want to be the general. You're just not good at really anything. You can't demand fee. So where I'm going with this is like, there's a perception of expertise when you declare a niche. You think about it from a physician perspective. Like, do you think a brain surgeon would be better than a general surgeon for a brain surgery? You would think the brain surgeon. But guess what? Every brain surgeon has their first brain surgery. Right? So there's a perception of expertise, but also when you do focus, it lifts your ceilings of opportunity where you understand what's possible and what's out there. Like first when I started with legal, like I didn't know that personal injury law was like one of the most profitable, biggest advertisers. It makes sense now, right? Seeing them but it's like, is that particular activating system like seeing the billboards because I'm in the space? Like I really didn't know, but then I identified that. Same for home services, your pest control, and for some people in home service, maybe it's roofing, right? And
home services isn't enough.
Right. So it's just, you get efficiencies, you can productize your offers, you get better. It lends itself to compounding. I just joined Hormozy's school group on his book launch, his workshop he talked about. You want things that compound. Well, I've got a podcast about PI. I've got a book about PI. I've got a conference. We do retreats. We have a newsletter. We have a magazine that we've launched, all on this one audience. I mean, it compounds. And then I have different ways to monetize them versus trying to do that. And by doing that, I also provide more value, so I can charge higher fees. The people in the legal industry cannot compete with that. I don't even care if you're in the legal industry. There's no chance, because I sign a client and I can give them all these things to extend tenure, provide more value, and that all comes from focus. I don't know how you would do that. And you also speak to the individual and not the widget. There's just so many advantages. You can charge more fees because you're worth more. You can provide more value. All those things it just compounds. Everything compounds when you focus on a niche.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what I've experienced is that as you begin to grow, and like you said, now you have the book, the conference, maybe the community, you can start to continue to solve more problems for that group because you know them so well, and because you have more opportunities. You know them all, so now you can upsell them and they can refer their friends. Of maybe it's pest control, and all the pest control guys know all the other pest control guys. I've found it to be super beneficial for my career as well. So then I want to ask you, how did you choose?
Can I jump one?
Yeah.
Do one? For your audience, the agents, I don't care what business you are, the most wildly underestimated thing is product market fit. Some people are like, well, people buy SEO. I got product market fit. No, you do not. The price points are different. The amount of content, the amount of links, the things that you need to do to get results, and product market fit constantly changes. Imagine trying to rediscover product market fit for multiple industries. Look at what's happened right now with AI, right? And you take personal injury law, right? And how you manipulate discovery. Well, super lawyers, Avo, Justia, it's going to be different for pest control. So it's constant discovery of product market fit. And one of the benefits of focus is that too. And a lot of times people go out and try to market and sell things when they haven't discovered product market fit, or try to scale a sales team. I'm countless agency members that I'm going on a little rant here, but Like, I want to build an outbound sales team. Like, well, what do you sell? Like, for who?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
they haven't got product market fit, so they can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. No, I learned niching down from Josh Nelson, who runs a seven-figure agency. You probably know him.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that really stuck
Great
with
hit.
me, which is kind of relates to what you're saying here, is that for every additional market that you have that you're serving, that's a multiple of complexity. So if you have one niche, now it's a 1x. But if you have 3 to 5 niches, that's 3 to 5 times more complexity. Not like 20% more complex, but now you have to account for every single one of those industries. And same with also the services that you provide. Ideally, you should have kind of one general standard package, which maybe we can jump into that if you agree with that or not. But regardless, that's something that really jives with me of like limiting complexity because business is already super complex.
Yeah, you also subsidize talent.
Mm-hmm.
You want your talent focused on, the most valuable activities. Yeah. So I mean, where was your follow? Hit me with the direct.
Okay. So then, how did you choose your niche?
I did the affiliate marketing. Got hit by that first penguin algorithm. It nuked me down to like $2,000 a month income, and I wasn't saving money, and I had these bills. So I got on Craigslist because that's back in the day. There wasn't Indeed and these other places, and I fired off my resume. I just typed in SEO and fired it off, and I got 3 interviews from agencies. They were all remote. All 3 offered me the job, and most people would say, "Well, Chris, which one did you take?" I accepted all 3. I worked at all 3 because I had an affiliate team in the Philippines. Back in the day, it was called Odesk. Now it's Upwork. And so I worked at 3 agencies. And one of the agencies I worked at, the most successful of the 3, worked with a lot of attorneys. And I saw the price points. I saw the value. I liked the relationships. So when I went out to launch my own, that was the one that I focused on.
Interesting. And how has that played out for you? Would you do it any differently in the future? Or would you do the same thing?
Well, I mean, I would do the same, right? It's hard for me to think of a different path. There are some situations like from a performance perspective or value perspective, there's limitations, right? Because I can't participate in contingency fees outside of like Arizona with the alternative business structure, for pest control or for plumbing. And I would do equity deals. I would do performance deals all day. Once I had the ability and the trust, I would do those types of deals all day. But it's very challenging to do that for legal, because if you're not an attorney, you can't have ownership in a law firm.
Yeah, go on that a little bit more. So you're saying instead of taking a retainer, take equity?
I would do equity, yes, and or profit from. Okay, so look, I don't know your niche. Let's say a roof. Okay, so pest control, I definitely don't know. Let's say roofing. I don't know, what's a roof cost? 20 grand, right? And
somewhere around there, yeah.
Right. Instead of selling a fixed retainer, I would do the fixed retainer plus money on the back end, right? Give me 10%.
Yeah.
Right. Now you got skin in the game. You got there's greater incentive for you to sell this individual more of these roofs, right? It's a win-win. So I would do deals like that. In situations where an individual couldn't pay, I would do sweat equity deals if I had capacity to get equity. So not just ownership of the business. Can't do that in legal.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, talk to me about your kind of agency structure then, which I was mentioning a little bit earlier. Do you guys do kind of custom for everyone? This is something I've definitely been struggling with. Can you be custom, or should it be fairly standardized? And like, are you taking on all kinds of clients?
Well, the benefit of niching is you're solving for one group that can be applied to others typically. Now,
Yeah.
As well as I do from a search perspective, a market of Los Angeles is going to be different than Carbondale, Illinois, or Marion, Illinois, where I'm at. So the quantity and the things that you have to do, even from a review perspective, might be less. But yeah, you can productize the offer. Yeah, I can't remember where you're going with that. Got off track again.
Yeah, essentially, like what are the agency services that you provide? Is it one standard
Oh yeah,
package or is
so
it more custom?
I mean, we have a core offer that it's not just a la carte things. It's things that provide value at different based upon the revenue and what they can afford. So like, you know, Hormozy's new book, the Money Models books, talks a lot about this. So we have, a core offer from $10,000 to $40,000 typically. But then we got some downsells that we take a piece out of that offer, maybe LSA only or search only, Google Ads only. We can take a piece out of it, but we don't we don't cannibalize those downsells to our core offer. That it's definitely less, and you get the one thing, right? And then we'll have continuity upsell offers. I'll give you a perfect one to consider is, let's say you sign someone on any search-based retainer or paid retainer. Well, they need X amount of traffic before it makes sense to do CRO. And so once they hit a certain or retargeting certain amount of traffic, you can say, hey, it would be beneficial. You now have enough traffic to where this makes sense, right? So that's a continuity upsell. There's a lot of things like that. There's these different links, right? Or citations, right? Are very important in terms of search. So it doesn't matter if a client's not getting results, they might, and you've structured everything from a technical SEO and UX perspective and content perspective, they may need more links if they're not performing. But if they are performing, they may need more links. So there's different continuity offers on upsells, and that it's not from a negative standpoint to actually provide more value. And that's what it comes down to. Like if I'm doing these links and they're not providing value, they're going to churn. So there's a lot there. It could be, let's talk about Facebook ads, right? Facebook ads, a lot of time it's the creative. You need a massive amount of creative. And so sometimes you can do, some media packages and on-site video work and things like that to get the creative as combination with their core offer. But you got to be careful though, because you don't want too many. You want everything. You don't want these Frankenstein things, right? You want to have natural progression, but those are just some of the challenges that come with this.
Awesome. Cool. All right, cool. So it feels like we've talked basically solely agency the first half of the show. Now I really want to dive into like all the local SEO stuff, what's been going on in local and so on.
Sure.
I guess we could start general here. Where do you think local SEO is at right now? Like what's been going through your head? What have you been thinking about recently?
I mean, it's now part of the AI overviews. So it's, Google's AI mode, when they make it default, it's almost a mirror to its current search. Also, typically, all the scrapers, a lot of them, regardless of who they're paying for their licensing deal, whether it's Reddit or what have you, to get this information, they're still scraping Google somehow. It's mirroring the local results there. And even being in Microsoft, typically it's similar. Not always the exact same, but it's very similar. So, I mean, it's people, there's been this evolution of marketing, right? Like back in the day, it was TV and Facebook, right? And radio. Well, now you got TV and streaming. Now you got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and this. And now you got programmatic. And so attention's more fractured. So you have to be in all these locations. So omnipresence is more important. And you want to go deep in some areas. But it's just changed. And
is omnipresence realistic for a smaller business?
No. Typically, 0 to 1 million, it's, one product, one channel. 1 to 10, what they'll tell you is, one product, multiple channels, or multiple channels, one product. That's Michael Masterson, Ready, Fire, Aim. I've seen that myself. When you go 10 plus, it's multiple channels, multiple products. That's just a general rule. Your thresholds could be different. A lot of times, one of the biggest issues with marketing is you're undercapitalized, right? Oh, SEO doesn't work. Well, you're paying $200 a month.
Mm.
Oh, TV advertising didn't work. Well, your personal injury attorney and the top 3 people are all spending 6 figures, and you're not saturating enough for memorability. You take someone like Jennifer, what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence, is that her name? From
Yeah.
Mockingbird. They spent $50 million. Like, no one knew who the hell she was before that
Yeah.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they spent $50 million to advertise that movie. And then suddenly people know her.
Everyone
50
knows
billion
her.
impressions. Yeah. So it's like you start small and you keep compounding and know your metrics and go from there.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, talk to me more about that like high level SEO game. Because usually I'm working with clients, usually somewhere in the 7-figure range, maybe low 8 figures. But I'm sure you're working with these law firms that are just monstrous. And you said it's also more competitive. They have more money to spend, might be 6 figures a year, or even 7 figures a year. What does that look like? Like, what are there massive teams, and how exactly competitive it is? What does it look like?
Well, in the PI space, there's consolidation occurring, kind of like what happened with dental and the Aspens and the DSOs. Now you have something called an MSO. So what's happening is private equities came in, and they're breaking these law firms up into 2 business units. So one is a legal business. It requires the bar card, and everything else, the marketing is separate. So that's how the PE invest. And they shuffle the fees. Somehow they get it legal. So there's a lot of consolidation and competition due to the capital. Well, it's surprising, but most PI firms don't have a big marketing department. They'll have like a marketing manager, maybe a CMO, maybe some support staff, but it's very rare that it's more than 4 or 5. There are some exceptions. Morgan & Morgan's, everything's in-house. They got like 70 people on their marketing team, but that's a they spend $300 million a year in advertising. To answer your question, let's just stick on local. You have to get 5-star reviews on Google. You got to get a bunch of them. So that's like table stakes, right? That impacts your local services ads, your local SEO, the superlatives, and the ability there, the words used in the reviews and around the reviews and everything impacts your discovery. I think where there's been a shift recently is Yelp. So if you think about this, Microsoft owns Bing. Microsoft licensed to Reddit. Microsoft also utilizes or Bing uses Yelp for their reviews. It's Apple Maps uses Yelp. And now you have, if you look at the citations on most of these LLMs, it's going to be Yelp. You'll even see them popping up for if you do, who's the best car accident lawyer in Las Vegas, you'll see a Yelp in the top 5. So because they're being cited and because where attention is, it's more important to get Yelp reviews. So Yelp reviews are tough to get to stick, right? Well, you got to get them to check in at the location. Like, that's the key. If you don't do the check-ins and you send them the link, first of all, you're violating their terms of service, their guidelines, but there's a greater emphasis on Yelp now than there has been in the past.
That's a really good nugget there. And then any other platforms or just mainly Yelp?
Okay, so Yelp, let me go a little bit further on Yelp. In order to rank on the 10 best pages, like those listicles that are important now, you got to get 20-ish reviews in most markets on Yelp. So that emphasizes even another component of why Yelp. Yes. Now you go over to, let's say, Facebook, right? Facebook, do you recommend this business, right? That's the option. You don't get a rating scale. Well, their reviews are aggregated. Well, where are they aggregated? They're aggregated to Trustpilot. They're aggregated to expertise.com. Expertise.com has a who's the best, has a listicle. So we're all playing these superlative listicle games on these LLMs to the most important directories right now. Super lawyers and best lawyers. It's such a joke. It actually frustrates me. Now you've got Justia, one of the primary legal directories. You can do a peer endorsement to be a top-rated something lawyer. And it's one that they've now created this new distinction on their page. It's so yes, Google, Yelp, Facebook is probably number 3 from a legal perspective and their aggregation that impacts these other results. But like those are some of the deeper things that like look, I try not to be negative. My competitors are not thinking about this. They are not.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not.
Yeah.
But it's the reality. You got to pay more importance and closer attention to these other sites.
Yeah, definitely. So those things that you said, some of them were kind of annoying, maybe shouldn't be there, like a superlawyer.com, then being listed there actually helps. Which of these things, like on a maybe in the next few years, will actually stick and you think will still be relevant in ranking in LLMs like ChatGPT?
All of those that I just mentioned.
Oh, really? So all those will still stay.
Yeah, I see the SEO people on X complaining. Like, how long have they been complaining about the keywords in the name for GBP? Like,
yeah,
they're not going to change this.
It's not going anywhere.
No. Like maybe they stop licensing Reddit, so the stupid Reddit forum stops ranking number 1 and 2 on all the queries, and that goes down. But like, a lot of these other things I mentioned, they're not changed.
Yeah. And what about other ways in ranking LLMs? Is there anything concrete? Because I've interviewed people on this, but a lot of people are still saying it's kind of too early. We haven't done any like concrete testing. But is there anything solid you're seeing?
Yeah, those guys are just making excuses because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So some of those listicle things and the aggregation of some of those sites and the importance of those sites, for lawyers specifically, there's a greater emphasis of case results. So if you look at, if you typed it in, I don't care what market, it's gonna say they had this case result and that case result. So now you have to feature those on the website much more prominently, much more robustly. Also, most of these sites, the Justy and Avos, they allow you to list case results. Many of these sites do. So you want to aggregate these reviews out. There's even Reddit-based strategies around this too. But overall, that's a big one from a ranking and discovery perspective is the proof. The proof component, no matter what it is more important to have on your bios, have on your main landing pages. I know there's been tie-ins to the EAT thing, but I think it's even more important on the discovery side from these LLMs.
Yeah, let's jump into the forums then. You mentioned like Reddit, and there's other ones like Quora and so on. Are you guys doing anything there for your clients, or what would you say?
We have tons of user profiles. We take an add value, no negative selling, answer questions first, because if you're doing any type of promotion, your accounts are nuked. You need a certain amount of karma points before you can be a moderator. And you have the trust, levels to even get your stuff to stick. So yeah, we answer questions, we provide value, simple stuff.
Should that be under a personal profile or a company profile?
I like the personal profiles. You can do both. I don't know. I think we do both. Yeah. So we'll have one core, legal fanatic style username that's like a company one or a ranking. We even have, I think, a rankings one right now.
Okay.
But we do both.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and related to the EEAT stuff, a lot of people will mention that authorship is super important. I mean, Google says that in their guidelines too. Are you guys like, do you do anything specific with authorship? Because I see some people that will make sure to cite the author. Maybe they do it several times. And there's a picture of the author. And then they try to build up that person's entity on Google and setting up all the social profiles. And they have a personal website. Like, do you go deep on that stuff, or is that not worth pursuing?
That's a really good question. And I hate, this is one of these that, so in my tier 2 of my offer, we have attorney entity optimization. We have a specific service that where we expand and make the attorneys entities and more robust. And a big component of that is their bio. So it's not just that, we want a 10 out of 10 AVO profile for them, super lawyer profile, Justia profile. All of those are tied in and interlinked to the bio and the bylines. And so we do that. I think it all kind of ties together. So we're doing that. And that's a tier in ours because it's a lot more work. We do the technical SEO, the schema, the person schema, all the stuff that everybody does. But then we go deeper on a higher tier. Yeah.
Well, that's one to touch on. I've been seeing some controversy around schema, and a lot of people are like, oh, this is the answer to showing up in LLMs. But now I've been seeing more and more people say, it still doesn't do much. What are your thoughts on schema?
Yeah, I saw an individual say that the other day. Like, this has been misproven. Like, what study are you looking at? Because it works. FAQ schema works. I can't remember that person's name.
Probably don't pass them.
Yeah, I actually like a lot of their content, but I was like, no, that it's completely wrong. And I think a lot of times it's we're doing this from an application perspective. We have 900 locations. So I would say that the amount of content and things that we're I have anecdotal proof that it is working. Maybe I should put a study out or something. Like the FAQ schema stuff, 100% works. Structuring your titles from a discovery perspective also works. You start putting things in a site-wide location in your footer or in your header that incorporates these superlatives, also gets referenced. So schema 1000% works.
Gotcha.
We even have a custom GPT that incorporates this, and when we put our content into it and structured a certain way, we have seen significantly more AI overviews.
Also kind of related to that, do you guys have any particular way to track this? I know some people have created their own dashboards. They'll kind of set up something in Google Search Console.
So
I know
data,
I'm sending you tough questions.
Well,
I know you're a highlight guy and you're super deep in this stuff.
This is a challenge, right? This is one we're trying to solve too. And everybody's got the Ahrefs and SEMrush stuff on the citations and what's good and what's there. And I know they just dropped the 100 parameter, but we're using some tools. I'm trying to think of the name of the tool. Profoundly, there's 2 or 3 AI tools that we're using, and none of them are perfect, but at least gives you some information. Even Yext has an AI audit score, visibility score. I think those are good as a baseline from a lead magnet or a marketing perspective, more so than existing clientele, but not enough. If you give me a second, I'll open my Slack, and hopefully this doesn't. You can keep hitting me, and I'll tell you the one that we're using right now. Give me just 2 seconds. Let's see here. Anywho, hit me with a question while you're doing it. I'll find it.
Yeah, I got you. So, you mentioned titles a little bit. I wanted to ask you on this because I think I've seen some stuff on this recently too. So for people that don't know, title tags are super important. That's I'd say one of the key aspects of where you need to have your keywords. And Kyle Roof talks about that a lot. I interviewed him on my show.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think, I saw something on this recently of people trying to implement EEAT in the title tags. I think Jason Hennessy mentioned this on Joy Hawkins' recent podcast, or maybe, I'm pretty sure it was him. But implementing some kind of more conversion / EEAT components to the title tags instead of just almost keyword stuffing, which some people will do. Do you guys mix that up? Is it not just keywords, but also hey, most trusted, best?
We're absolutely doing that. By the way, the tool that I was referring to one of them that we're using is called Prompt Watch right now.
Okay.
Um, so yes, attorneys have advertising ethics and restrictions on the use of superlatives. You can't do it from the bar, but you can say things like, okay, so say you get an award that's a top rated. You could say top rated by, or, rated best lawyer. So then you get the best and the top and the title tag.
Yeah.
Which is super annoying that you got to do that. But those are some things that can make an impact, because a lot of times the consumer, and you look at these long tails, they're going to use best. Who's the best car accident? Like if you got in a car wreck, who's the best car accident lawyer near me? Right? You're going to say best. And so that's why super lawyers and Justia and best lawyers, all these are more important. And even the words that are used. So like when you're coaching up your customers to leave that phrasing into the reviews themselves. Yes. Incredibly important.
Awesome. And what about like super long tail searches? So obviously then most people should know this by now, that people are doing more and more searches by voice, and people are using LLMs more. I believe the stat is maybe the queries on LLMs are like 2 to 3 times longer than Google, and I'm sure that might even be getting longer. And for myself personally, sometimes I'll have a question about something, or it might even be related to a product or service, and I'll talk to my phone for a few minutes, and it'll be a whole page long. So, like, do you think that's kind of where things are headed, and how can you show up if that's the case?
I mean, I think you structure your different queries correctly. You're on the sites that are cited. Each section should be, we're talking about the tokens of structure, not just the words. Google reads the tokens. So that all plays into this. I mean, today I was kind of thinking of your example there. Like, I'm sitting here talking to my phone, and it's so frustrating when you're talking on ChatGPT and it thinks you're done and it starts interrupting you, and it's like, yeah, restart. But yeah, I mean, if I look at some of especially when I'm talking to it, if I type it, I'll kind of shorthand it. I'm super lazy sometimes too. I'll like throw an email in here and I'll be like, fix this. Right?
Yeah.
Like fix the grammar. But like if I'm going deep, I'll give it a lot of context. I think that plays into it.
And I mean, some people like Gary Vee says at least part of the answer to that is branding. Do you guys do anything with branding with clients? Do you like advise them, or do you implement anything yourselves?
So I always encourage, like, if you've got, like, this is like different evolutions, right? For personal injury attorneys, and this is the space that I know, so I was giving all the examples.
Yeah.
If you have like a minimal budget, a lot of times it's like 50% or higher go straight lead gen. You can get a CPL or CPR, cost per retainer, and it's a way to get consistent cases immediately. And that other amount typically goes to either your own performance marketing or brand. The issue with brand, though, is it takes a lot to saturate, but you need to start somewhere, right? And there's kind of this evolution that occurs. It's like, you don't want to deploy dollars outside of your brand at some point. So in the beginning, maybe you start heavier on the lead gen, and then it starts to kind of shrink, and you go more. And even maybe it's lead gen plus performance, and then it's like less lead gen, and then now you got performance and brand. But then eventually it's like brand and then performance is low. It's kind of an evolution that occurs.
Yeah, I agree. With the market I'm in, pest control, I usually just say, just go kind of straight lead gen up until $1 million a year. But once we're at $1 million a year, we kind of have to start investing in brand. We have to be building something there. And ideally, it's already getting built, right? I mean, for pest control, they might be... Who?
Mike Ramsey?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, you should reach out to him. He might be able to get you some referrals.
Okay. Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Okay, cool. So we'll start to wrap up the show here. I've got one final question for you, Chris, which is, what is your message for local business owners or for local marketers? What do they need to know? What are they getting wrong, and what do you want to tell them?
Whew, that's a big one. I would just say be intentional about improving, consistent improvement. A lot of you look at a lot of times individuals self-sabotage themselves. You stop, you quit learning, you don't improve, right? Michael Dell talks about this after 40 something plus years in business. You'll sell your business, you won't keep you'll hit these friction points, but as long as you go through the pain, try to fix your mistakes and learn from them. That's the best advice that I could give you. I'll give you a perfect example from myself. Just one I've been thinking about is like, we had our first event last year called PimCon. I didn't save any money for this. Like, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like $1.6 million I had to just figure out. Right. And we had a decent amount of sponsorships and ticket sales. I had to give a lot of tickets away to get people there. Okay. Year one, then it's like, okay, well, I could have sold the tickets at a little bit more. I could have added, here's 3 more sponsors. And now this year it's like 300,000 more. Well, now next year we've even found how to get another $100,000 or $200,000 out of it. And it's just because I stuck with it. Like, I didn't make much money. In fact, I lost money year one, but it's just like sticking with it and just learning from your mistakes.
Love that. Yeah, that's that ready, fire, aim concept, I believe, that book. And I actually want to give a quick follow-up here, because it seems like you're a pretty avid reader. Do you have any top books that you think people should definitely read?
I am definitely an avid reader.
Called it.
Okay. Ready, Fire, Aim, we mentioned, is a really good one. If you're an agency owner, The Boutique by Greg Alexander is an incredible book. Incredible. I'm a high D, so I like books like The 10X by Grant Cardone. I like Amp It Up, and Snowflake. I like books like that. I like the new, there's The Science of Scaling. It's a new one that just came out. It's got I think Tony Robbins has like the intro on it. I've seen some Facebook ads on it. If you said like marketing or this or that, I could tell you. Like,
yeah, marketing,
you're going to go to Hormozy's stuff.
Lead,
Your offer for product market fit, your, Ultimate Sales Machine, Chet Holmes is a good one. Ogilvy's got an excellent book. I think the understanding the psychology from Cialdini, that his book Influence is incredible. So there's books like that. I also think that depending upon where you are as a business, like early revenue, it's more tactical. You need to understand the tactics, and a lot of the tactics are missing. Later on, it's more strategy. What decisions am I going to make, like, that really impacted the business? It's not how do I build an outbound team? How do I do Facebook ads? Like, and there's books for all that. But yeah, so it's like, where are you at? If you're sales and you need help from an outbound perspective, Trish Bertuzzi, a sales development playbook. There's, Sales Gravy, and there's the prospecting book. I can't think of the name of it, but Fanatical Prospecting. It just depends. So like, there's books for all the tactics, but then there's books for the strategy too.
Yeah. But it seems like that's at least one of your unlocks. I can tell you're very smart, you're very knowledgeable, and I really appreciate that list. That was super helpful. I'll have to go back and read all those books.
I think too, at a certain point, the tactics, they kind of get regurgitated, like from the core main entrepreneurial books. But then you start looking at, Titan by Rockefeller. Then you go look at Isaacson's book on Elon Musk, and Sam Walton's book, and you start going through those, and you can pull out like really good nuggets, and from a strategy perspective, looking at things differently.
Love that. So awesome. No, I'll have to make sure to read all those. Well, cool, Chris. It's been a great show. It's been so great having you on. Where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more about what you guys do?
Yeah, I'm most active on LinkedIn. So if you shoot me a message, probably won't be immediate. I'm not an inbox zero message guy on LinkedIn, but I probably see it. if you listen to this and you want to email me directly, just hit me at chris@rankings.io.
Cool. Awesome. And anything else you'd like to plug or promote?
No, go get it. Appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I like the engaging conversation. It gets me thinking, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. No, you had some great answers, and you had a really unique perspective on all the LLM stuff. Like very few people could have an answer to this, and that's why I wanted to ask you those questions, because it's unique to you. And also make sure to go buy both of his books. If you're a lawyer, he has a lawyer marketing book and also his niching up book. Definitely read that if you're maybe an agency, or maybe you're just thinking about niching in whatever industry you're in. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a great show, and thank you so much for coming on, Chris. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.